part of my life's work, really the focus of my life's work, is making sure that every young person, especially in Appalachia for a start, but globally, has a loving, caring, supportive adult that encourages them and never gives up on them. Like, I'm sure you guys are familiar with the ACEs, right? Adverse childhood experiences, like the number one resiliency factor is having that adult in their lives, and so many kids don't. And we've got to ask ourselves, why not? Like, what are we doing as individuals to take care of our young people? And to me, the answer is not enough.
Mm-hmm. Welcome back to the Hopeaholics Podcast. I'm your girl, Natalie Eva Marie.
And I'm Chad Carlson, and you're listening to the #1 addiction and mental health podcast.
And you guys, if you or a loved one is struggling, make sure you head to askevamarie.com or chaddick.com and chat with one of our AI companions 24/7.
Or text the number right here on the screen.
Together, we are breaking the stigma around addiction and mental health.
And fighting the fentanyl epidemic.
Now, let's get into the episode.
Reed?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Hopeaholics Podcast.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming out. Where do you live normally?
I'm a digital nomad at this point.
Are you?
Yeah. I just packed up my apartment in West Virginia a few weeks ago, and I came out to LA. I had another podcast scheduled, and I'm like, what would it be like if I just moved to SoCal? And so here I am.
Honestly,
Shut up.
Honestly, it'd be pretty cool.
I think it's been super cool. Way cooler than I imagined.
Wait, so are you just like couch surfing at the moment?
House sitting professionally.
What?
What?
TrustedHouseSitters.com. You set up a profile.
Stop it right now.
I swear to goodness, I just came off 2 weeks in West Hollywood, 6 days in Hollywood. I got a week and a half coming up in Huntington Beach.
Oh, that'll be nice.
I stay and feed the dogs. They give me a place to stay.
Shut up.
I was like, do you not like worry about somebody walking out with your stuff or like throwing raves? They're like, no, it's getting too expensive to board the pets. So here I am.
So basically, you don't.
I wonder if Donna will be down with that.
No.
Like, cause it's getting. I agree. I have 3 dogs now, and it's like harder to go on vacation.
Yeah.
Because we have 3 dogs.
You got
like
Reed. You got Reed now.
It's like $100 a day, right?
Yeah.
Wait, so do they pay you?
No. Some people do have businesses for it, but this is an exchange for I want a place to stay. I'll look after your dogs.
What?
Yeah.
Hold up.
Yep.
Is there like some type of screening process?
Let's put this up on the screen again.
TrustedHouseSitters.com.
TrustedHouseSitters.com, guys.
It's $150 subscription for a year, and you got to put your ID up there. You go through a background check. You got to put some references up. But like, I got my record sealed a few months ago. Like, so I had a couple felonies, and I passed the background check.
But you got it sealed.
I did get it sealed.
How'd you do that?
Some prayer and some good behavior, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Especially because your record is pretty recent.
Yeah, I mean, 2020 is when I came home from prison, and so that's 5 years ago.
Wait, when you came out of prison?
Came home from prison. Yep.
How long did you do?
2 years.
We got to get into this, Reed. You're like way too cute and way too like not who I would be thinking is spending 2 years in prison, right? No, you seem like you're gonna come and house sit and feed my dog.
I'm gonna come house sit for your dogs, give you a hug.
Yeah.
And back in the day, maybe brought you some dope if you needed it.
It's wild. Let's dive into it because this is pretty fascinating.
Wait, before we dive.
Okay.
What did you go to prison for?
Aggravated trafficking and drugs. I was selling meth.
Meth. I don't know why I yelled that.
Yeah.
I don't know why I yelled meth.
It's because he said candy, and that's your candy choice.
That's my drug of choice.
It was the best drug.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought Coke was good.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Coke's right up there.
Ish. To you,
Coke's
meth.
not even.
Have you done meth?
I have.
Okay.
But have you
Making sure.
really done meth? See,
No,
that's
because I had to
the
stay away from.
difference.
I turned right back to cocaine
I'm glad
because I
you
was
stayed
like,
away
meth
from it.
will definitely.
That's the difference, man.
Yeah.
And like, here's the thing. Like,
The first time I did it, I stayed up for like 3 days.
yeah,
and I only had done it once.
That's just a start, though.
Yeah.
That's just like, we were just getting going.
Yeah.
You know, you got to get at least like another 4 or 5 days out and before, the good shit starts happening.
I always think about why I didn't like really run with my meth usage. But I think my brother scared me.
It's because you never ran into a motherfucker like me.
No, I think it's because I saw I saw what it could do.
And frankly, she's probably better off because of it. If I had never done meth, I'd probably be a little bit better shape.
I
physically.
feel
My brain.
I feel
I don't
like if
think
I
so.
would
You
have
don't think so?
never done
No.
meth, I might have been like a doctor.
No.
Right.
Or not a convicted felon.
Yeah.
We could probably take that because I've never been arrested not on meth.
See, I've been arrested, not on drugs.
So you're a criminal.
So you're just
I'm just
you're
bad.
there's no
I'm just
recovery
a
from-
bad egg.
you're a criminal. I'm not a criminal. I'm a
I
drug
think
addict.
that's not fair.
I've had to realize since coming up from prison that the degree of criminal thinking that I have, because I don't like rules, I don't like authority, I don't like
Right.
following rules, and a lot of people are okay with that,
Right.
and so it's been.
I think there is two different types of people where like there are some that really actually are okay like falling in line, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I
Sure.
think that's important
Yeah.
for like humanity.
Right.
And then you have the other end of the pendulum, which is like people that want to essentially run their own show.
Somebody made the rules.
So-
Right?
I don't want to make the rules. I just want to make my own rules.
I see.
Yeah.
I mean,
We're gonna get along just fine.
the
Reed.
guys that make the rules, they're all criminals anyway.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Like
I used to work with them. I know.
you sit up there in the Senate and Congress and
Oh yeah.
any political position, and you're a criminal. Trust me, you're a criminal.
Have you seen the Sean Ryan stuff going on
Oh.
recently?
Oh,
with
yeah.
Crenshaw?
Dude, what in
Yeah.
the world? I haven't followed it. I haven't done a deep dive into like the whole shebang.
Yeah.
But it is wild of like what's going on, especially because if you just like an outside perspective, is you would think like, wait, these guys should be
Supposedly on the same side.
right,
Yeah.
especially coming from the backgrounds that they both have come from.
And as a politician, frankly, I don't think you fire back in that situation. I think you probably avoid going public. You should have never DM'd him. That was a mistake. I wonder if it's
100%.
staged. Well, maybe it's staged for the likes.
Maybe.
Who knows?
You never know. See,
No,
that's
but
the
I feel
other
like-
thing about this whole deal.
Yeah, but doesn't one look like a puss and the other one not?
Wait, whose side you got?
I don't know. I don't know enough. I don't know enough
They both look like they can squabble.
for sure.
Yeah, one's got an eye patch.
Well, I
so
was just
that's
gonna
pretty
say
tough.
one.
Yeah, but I think Sean was in the military too. So.
No, he was, and Sean's
yeah,
like a bad motherfucker.
He's.
I feel like I wouldn't want to fuck with Sean.
Okay, we got $5 on Sean.
Yeah, $5 on it. My money's on Sean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bet on a politician for anything.
Right. Exactly.
You know when a politician is lying.
Their mouth's moving, right?
Yeah. Lips are moving.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were convicted of
Again.
going back.
7-count indictment.
7.
Was, aggravated trafficking in drugs, aggravated possession of drugs, having weapons under disability. There's like 10 gun specifications. There was a bunch of guns in the house. And I got convicted of 2 of those, pled out. And they sentenced me to 2 years, which was, frankly, a pretty sweet deal. Like, I wanted drug court. I didn't want to go to prison, obviously. But a lot of the guys I was in prison with did a lot less or got caught for a lot less and were doing a lot more time. So I feel like I did get pretty lucky. And 2 years was the right time for me. Like, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. If I didn't go to prison, I swear I would be dead. Like, brother's dead, mom's dead, best friend's dead.
Oh, wow.
And the first day I was arrested, I got clean. I made the decision that day. I said, I don't want to use drugs anymore. It's led to every problem in my life. If I can stop using drugs, maybe I'll get to go home. Because before I got sentenced, I mean, the 7-count indictment is 27 years. I was terrified. I thought I may never see the light of day again. And so that was the thing that flipped for me to enter in recovery. And I've been sober for like over 7 years now. And I mean,
Look at
I appreciate the
you.
compliment of like, I don't look like I've lived
Of
that life,
course.
because that's a blessing.
Yeah.
The rooms I've had, the opportunity to step into, the tables I've had the seats at, you guys welcome me here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a good thing. Prison has.
And was this all took place in West Virginia?
So the geography is along the Ohio River, and so you got Ohio and West Virginia. So it was really across the state lines.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we call it the Mid Ohio Valley. Shout out to the MOV.
So everything kind of came crashing down on you in what 2018?
Yeah.
That's basically when the jig is up.
Yeah, they kicked in the door with the tear gas and the raid machines, like a tank they brought outside. And so my brother had passed in 2017. He overdosed on heroin, right? And
wow.
when I started using meth, he and I used some together. He sold drugs for a long time. Like, he was 17 and he got caught with a 1/4 pound of weed in the trunk. So he got a felony before he was 18. And he taught me how to sell drugs. Nothing crazy for the first part of my adolescent and early 20s. But just how to, like, buy an eighth of weed or a quarter of weed, bag it up in nickel bags, sell it so you can have money to smoke. Then I got into meth, and, he had sold from heroin to cocaine to all kinds of stuff. And it's really sad. I said this in my pre-sentencing interview, and it sounds kind of messed up. When he died, I dove into selling drugs the hardest I ever had, as a way to cope and as a way to honor him. Like, that's my older brother. I had seen him since we were, before even teenagers. He used to go to the corner store and buy mom cigarettes and sell weed down there. And so that was a person I had to look up to. And, I sold drugs in a way to kind of honor, take after him for about a year. And, that's what led me to getting arrested. They came in with the tear gas, came in, and I remember I was laying there in bed. It was like 5 a.m. And my old lady, she had a 380 on her nightstand. I had a 357 cig on mine. And I had told her, I was like, if I get into it with the police, like, I may just go out that way. Like, that's really where I was at this point, because I knew people were watching me. I didn't want to go to prison, and I wanted to get clean, but I couldn't escape the lifestyle. And so they came in, and I looked over at the nightstand at the 357 cig, and, like, she looked at me and she's like, no, don't, because, like, granted, if they would have came in, they probably would have executed both of us. And so I came up on the edge of the bed. He snatched me off the bed, put his knee in my back, and they took me to Washington County Jail. Yeah. And then it's the beginning of my recovery journey.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to go a little bit further, like, back to, because you mentioned, your older brother was who you looked up to, and that was, like, someone that you admired, and obviously, like, kind of, what's the age gap?
16 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it? Almost Irish?
Almost Irish twins.
Okay.
When did you guys, and then you said that your mom is no longer with us either?
Yeah, she died in 2022 after I came home from
Oh,
prison.
wow.
Yeah.
When did your drug use really kind of, like, pop off and start becoming, I guess, a problem?
I think as soon as I started, because I was the last person in my immediate family, brother, sister, mom, dad, to start using at 13. And so to me, that's a problem. Like, I didn't.
So your parents are addicts?
Mom used cocaine since she was a teenager. Dad, I don't know when he started, but he's always been kind of wild. They had two different personalities. Mom was a full-blown addict and mentally ill, undiagnosed. Dad, he liked to party and have fun. He could kind of take it or leave it. So yeah, my entire family were mentally ill and addicts.
Sure. It is fascinating to me because it's always like you have one or the other of either you have someone like Chad who's like the solo, the special child of
or the black sheep, as they would call my dad.
Sure. I like to say special, or like I was gonna say mine and yours, but your whole entire family. Like, my parents are normies, but me and my brothers are all full blown addicts and alcoholics. So it's interesting for me when I hear stories, because it's like never really. There's no what's the word I'm looking for?
Rhyme or reason?
Yeah.
Like consistency. Yeah.
Sure. Exactly.
And it stands out to me too, because I always envy folks who come from families like mine where everybody's an addict and yet they choose to not use drugs.
Yeah.
Right.
Thinking like, how did you do that?
That
Totally.
happens too.
That does
happen because people will be like, well, this person did it. Why couldn't you? I'm like, I guess I wasn't strong enough.
Sure.
I mean, at 13, I caved.
Because you knew. So, like, at 13, you kind of knew what your family kind of was, and you still were like, well, this is what I'm doing.
What else am I supposed to do? You're looking for that love and support, connectedness and belonging in your family setting, and everybody's smoking or drinking or absent. So you find it in the same way. That's the skill I learned.
Mm-hmm.
Let me use this substance to feel connected.
So then you started at 13, and then it just kind of progressed from there. Like, did you finish high school?
I did. And I'm so proud of this stat. I'm the only sibling that finished high school.
Oh, wow.
So my sister, she dropped out at 16 because she got pregnant. And then my brother, I think he dropped out at 16 because he got caught with pills in school. And so I graduated high school and went to college. I didn't graduate college. I dropped out of college, but I made it to college. So I did. My teenage years, they were interesting. Went back from North Carolina, that's where my mom's from, back to West Virginia to visit my dad. And he and I were sitting on my grandma's steps hitting some chronic out of a one-hitter. And I was like, Dad, I don't want to go back to Mom's because like she was super wild, super belligerent, just was very unstable there. And he said, you don't have to. If you come back to West Virginia and stay for 4 years, you can come and move with me. And so I did. We got a trailer. He wasn't even driving at the time because he had lost his license. He was making like $250 a week at my uncle's body shop. And for the first 2 years, freshman and sophomore year, we would just smoke together. He'd buy my cigarettes. He would buy me some alcohol for the weekend so I could go out and have fun. And that was our relationship. And it was cool. Like, I'm so grateful that I had my dad for those years. And it's been really hard because like my junior year, it started to get to me. Like, I was an honor student. I was, excelled academically and extracurricularly. And I remember I was taking this trig test in Miss Taylor's class one day, and I was looking at this test and I didn't know the answers. I didn't even know how to do it. And I was always so good at math. And I was like, what's wrong with me? It's like, there's nothing wrong with you, dude. You've been smoking weed for 2 years, not doing your homework. What do you expect? And so I stormed out of the classroom, went, punched a couple walls, went downstairs, and I collapsed in my counselor's room. And I said, Miss Hott, like, this is what's really going on. This is the part of the story you don't get. And I told her everything. And she's crying, and I'm crying, and I don't know what to do. And she's like, don't worry, we're going to fix this. So she calls some family of mine. She calls my aunt. Apparently my aunt had agreed to take me in for a while. And we staged this intervention. And so it's my cousin, my tennis coach, my counselor, and my aunt and uncle. After school one day at the school building, he comes up. He has no idea what's going on. He walks in the door. He sees us sitting around a table, and I can just see the look in his eyes. And he's like biting his jaw, and he looks at me, and I can just tell he felt betrayed. And I felt like I betrayed him. And in some ways I did. Was I wrong for doing that? Like, I don't think so. I think it's okay to want to choose a environment where you don't use drugs with your parents, where it's a little bit more secure. But yeah, that definitely hurt. So that led me down this interesting path of going to stay with my aunt for maybe 6 months or a year until I got caught messing around with my girlfriend. Ended up got my girlfriend pregnant. She was 15, I was 17 at the time. And that was really hard on my aunt. She's a conservative woman. And so I remember I came home one day after we had a falling out, and my cousin was there. And she said, here's some trash bags, get your stuff. And so I threw my stuff in trash bags, threw it in the back of my 2000 Mercury Cougar, and I was homeless at 17. So it's like back to Miss Hott's office, my guidance counselor. And I said, this is what I did. I'm so sorry. Luckily, my aunt, she had kept some money from the state that they were paying for her to take care of me. And so they got me a place at a boarding house for a couple months. So I was staying in this boarding house with some old heads, some guys working the oil field, sharing space there for a couple months. And then I got really lucky. I got an apartment my senior year of high school from a community outreach center there in West Virginia on St. Mary's. And they let me stay there. Typically, you got to pay like 30% of your income. But since I was a senior in high school, they said, you're welcome to stay here for free. Just make sure you go to school, keep going to work. And then when you graduate, you got to be out of here. And so I did. I missed probably 45 days of school. And I remember I went to court for truancy. And so this was so amazing to me. The truancy officer was also the homeless liaison. So the same woman who would help me buy shoes out of the East Bay catalog with state money, the same woman who would take me to the dollar store to help me buy shampoo and soap and hygiene products, the same woman who was my academic coach and Science Bowl advisor, right? Like, I was on the Science Bowl team, I was on the Quiz Bowl team. She advised both of them. She was also the truancy officer. So she had to take me to court, right? And so that's hard for her to see, like, what my life is outside of school, but also how I'm performing inside of school. She takes me to court, and I sit there in front of Randy Nutter, God bless him, and I'm telling him about, he's like, why are you missing school? And I said, I'm depressed, going through stuff with my girlfriend, the family life, whatever. And he said, well, what do you want to do after school? I said, I want to go to college. Where are you thinking about going? West Virginia Wesleyan. He said, that's where my son is at right now. And he said, you graduate, you don't miss another day of school, and we'll remove these charges, we'll dismiss them. And so I didn't miss another day of school, graduated, and went on to go to West Virginia Wesleyan. So things ostensibly worked out, but I remember the day I graduated, and I took things literally. I don't know why I took things literally. So I got my diploma. And so in my head, I graduated, therefore I must be out of this apartment. So I go back to the apartment, grab what little bit of stuff I have, throw my key under the door, and I lock it behind me. And now I'm homeless again at 18. Like, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And so something that was transformative to me when I was in high school is I went to Camp Horseshoe. It's this youth camp from kids all across West Virginia and Ohio. They've got different service chapters in their high schools. They've got a youth and government program, but these are some of like the most brightest kids across that region. And when I went, I felt like that was where I was supposed to be. I went my junior and my senior year. And I remember when I went back to St. Mary's back home afterwards, I would go back to work at Domino's where I worked at the time, and I'd start smoking weed with the guys I worked with, and I would go back to the trailer and Dad would be there. And I just felt this contrast of what I could have up in the hills and the mountains of Camp Horseshoe with those young people, and what reality was of this is my home life. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it. I don't want to end up like the things that are around me. And so when I locked that door behind me, I said, what if I could just make it to Camp Horseshoe? I'd be okay. And so I had a guy take me to Route 50, big interstate there in the middle of West Virginia, drop me off on the corner, and I started walking. And Camp Horseshoe is like a 3-hour drive. And so I just took off, 18 years old, skinny jeans on, green bandana, band t-shirt, and I'm just trucking up mountains for who knows how long. And I remember the clouds turn black and a storm rolls in. And this is the worst monsoon of my life. This is so ridiculous. It was terrifying. You hear the thunder bellow and the rain falls out of the sky. And so I'm just getting drenched, and it doesn't matter. You just keep going. And I remember it was probably like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I was so tired I wanted to sleep. And so I tried to lay down next to the guardrail on the other side, but the trucks would keep coming, and so they kept waking me up. I'm thinking, this isn't going to work. And so I take off walking. I'm still walking. It's 3 in the morning. And there's this mobile home business alongside the interstate, and it's very rural in West Virginia, so doubtful that anybody's overseeing this lot that late. And so I go try one of the doorknobs, and it was unlocked. So I go in this mobile home, and there was a flag in the corner of the mobile home, so I like wrap up with this flag, and I'm just chilling there napping until the sun comes up. Wake up, I'm back to working. I got a tooth that's hurting out of all things. My knees hurt, and I'm so tired. And I limp into West Union, West Virginia, and I'm limping around town, and I can see different people looking at me thinking, what is this kid doing? And I go all over town. It's a very small town, trying to figure out, like, what am I going to do to figure this out? And I find the library, and the library was open. And so I go up in the library, and this woman, she gives me the login information for the computer. And I hop on there, and I messaged my girlfriend at the time. And I said, hey, I'm in West Union. Please call Camp Horseshoe and tell them that I'm trying to walk there, but I can't make it. I'm going to be here in West Union. I need help. And so she called Camp Horseshoe. And my mentor, David King, who's basically my dad now, he answered the phone. And I just know I woke up on the steps of the library there in West Union. And there David King was, and he's like, you want to go get something to eat? And so he takes me to go get something to eat, and I'm hammering pancakes and Philly cheesesteaks, and he drives me back to Camp Horseshoe, and I end up working at Camp Horseshoe that summer, and he helped me get enrolled at West Virginia Wesleyan.
Wow.
So that was like my first real experience of what I would say homelessness, like going from the apartment, trying to walk to Camp Horseshoe, then being saved in that regard. And, you know, me connecting with my mentor in that way, it was super transformative. That's why part of my life's work, really the focus of my life's work, is making sure that every young person, especially in Appalachia for a start, but globally, has a loving, caring, supportive adult that encourages them and never gives up on them. Like, I'm sure you guys are familiar with the ACEs, right? Adverse childhood experiences, like the number one resiliency factor is having that adult in their lives, and so many kids don't. And we've got to ask ourselves, why not? Like, what are we doing as individuals to take care of our young people? And to me, the answer is not enough.
Mm-hmm. This episode is brought to you by Wolfpack Bags. This gear is meant for anybody gym, lifestyle, to anybody that's on the move. I mean, I like to say that us here and everybody that tunes in, we're not average. We're always a wolf. They have all the goods that you need, especially for anybody that is looking for a bag to carry their meal prep, a lunch pail, anything like that. They have you covered. So once again, go to wolfpack.com, use the code Hopeaholics, save 10%, and join the pack.
I can keep rolling.
Oh, yeah. Keep going.
The first job I had when I came home from prison was as a youth peer recovery supporter. And what I learned in that role is we didn't have enough beds to treat the young people who wanted to get clean. I had a 17-year-old who was using heroin, and he wanted to get sober, and we had nowhere to take him. They took him to the hospital in the ER. Eventually, he ran because that's not where he needs to be. And I remember 2 years later, I got a message that he had overdosed and died. Like, we failed him. Like, when are we going to stand up and say that's not okay? And so I've done my best over the past 5 years to stand up and say it's not okay.
I feel you, man. That's my and not what he just said right there. That's my 50 Cent era. Like, I'm not okay with addicts dying. I mean, you can go in the same spot you're at. Just like my business life is a little bit different. So I deal with adults, but like adults 18 to 27 years old, they're still kids. Man, half these people have never experienced life, and even some of the adults that come in, we get 40-year-olds in here that have never really experienced real life. They don't even know how to do their own laundry. And like to answer the question is like, you know, because like drugs have changed, laws have changed, a lot has changed. Addiction is worse. Mental health is worse because of the drugs are way more powerful, and like
way more lethal.
way more lethal. And you know, it's like there's so many people that sit up on their high horse and talk about whatever, and they want to talk about whatever. And my thing right now is like, stop talking and do something. Like, make a change, even if it's not like, even if you're gonna get scrutinized for doing it, you know. And I commend you for like wanting to more people to get out and help the youth and be a role model for them. You know, it's a scary thing because there's so many sickos in this world too. How do we get rid of the sickos, you know, and not have them doing more damage to preying on them?
I think we realized that the sickos were one time a child too.
Yeah.
And how did they develop into that, right? There's probably some trauma there. Maybe not universally, but I think looking at people through that lens, I remember it was in Huntington back, probably when I was running for board of education. I was taking a walk down to the Riverfront Park, and the bathroom's open at like 7 a.m. And I walked into the bathroom, 7 a.m., and there's a guy in there roasting meth. And like, I'm not the police. Like, I don't care that you're doing that. But also 7 a.m., you know, like,
Yeah.
So I found myself being mad. And I was like, who are you to judge him? Like, you don't know what he's gone through. Like, come on, your life is so much better than that right now. And like, you've been fortunate. And so I just looked at him through the lens of, man, he was probably, you know, an abandoned, neglected child at some point.
Yeah.
And, you know, why don't we look through that lens more often? And yeah, there's so much that we all can do. It's been a big part of my platform, you know, for the past 5 years is, as you said, you used the word role model. And, you know, my grandpa, I call him David, my mentor, dad, whatever you want to call him. He came and visited me. He was the only person that came and visited me in prison. That was super eye-opening. I was only 40 minutes up the road from my hometown. And I get it. I mean, I got friends in prison that I haven't gone to visit, so I get it. But it was very eye-opening. And he was sitting there across the table from me. And I was like, I have thrown my life away. Like, I have no idea what my future is going to be like if I even have one. He's like, no, you got a purpose. He's like, you're called to be a witness. You've gone through all this in your life for a reason. There's people on the outside that want to make a change, want to make a difference. Like, you're called to share your testimony with those people. I didn't believe him at the time, but he was right. He was so right. And I think part of my purpose that's developed from that is when I got that job as a youth peer supporter, realizing the way I conduct myself is the best example I can show to the world. I can sit here and rap all day, but like, if I don't actually live it, then what's the point? And so I think that's what we're all called to do, is to be our best. I know the be the change gets played out, but like, that really is it. That's the ticket. Right. Where you want to see the world created. And you guys are creating something so beautiful here. I was telling Emily when I walked in, you know, in West Virginia, we're a little bit behind the curve. And Facebook's the #1 platform there still. So I didn't have an Instagram for the first few years. So last year I moved out closer to DC, got an Instagram, and y'all stuff started popping up immediately. I wasn't following you guys. There was something about the branding, something really about the message though, and the alignment with what I had been doing. So I'd been seeing you guys, and to look, you know, 2-3 years down the road where you guys are now, it's really inspiring. As I was, you know, looking up all the work you guys do before I flew out here, I was like, man, there's a lot of hope by the sea out here in California. Well, in Appalachia, you know, there's a lot of hope in the hills.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know,
There's hope everywhere, huh?
Yeah, but
You
it
know?
really,
it's all around us.
yeah, we're full of it.
And that's and you know, that's like we all you know, we all used to sell dope, but not you know, nothing better than slanging hope.
Well, slinging hugs.
There you
Oh, I got free hugs today.
You're
man.
a hug hustler today, baby.
Anybody sees me today? Anybody?
It's on
You
site.
see me today?
Yeah, I want to ask.
I'm hugging.
Before we
Side
get
hugs. Consensual.
Yeah. Before we get into
I'm
like
coming in hot. No, I'm just kidding.
oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Before we get into like how the free hugs and like the 1 billion hugs kind of took off and how that was created, I want to know what changed, what did you do that someone that is listening right now, because you were on a trajectory that was very much a different life than you're living today, and you didn't have that adult like love that we obviously have now learned that a child truly does need to make that change or to feel that type of support to achieve or to believe or to all the things that we hear that are so cliche, but they're so very much true, especially when we're so young and not developed and our brains aren't even developed, and we rely so heavy on having like some type of adult figure. It doesn't have to be a parent. It can be a mentor. It could be an aunt. It could be a brother. It could be a sibling, something of that nature. But what did you do that all of a sudden made you flip the script and change? I know that they booted in your door and all of that, and that obviously for some people is all the change that they need. But something had to click in you to make it this big of a transformation of who you were to who you are today.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's such an important question. I'm glad you asked it. I try and ask myself that before I go on shows and think, like, what does the listener need to hear that I have inside me to share? And I was thinking about, what is the thing that I've learned that really changed everything? I've had a lot of privilege and a lot of fortunate things that worked out. I've also had a lot of disadvantage and things worked against me. Like, why is it that my best friend and my brother are dead?
Yeah.
And why am I here in this position? I think it comes down to identifying the positive things in your life, the people who are supporters or encouragers, and saying yes and not avoiding it, not saying no. I can actually trace it back. I didn't realize to the other day. If I didn't say yes to going to Camp Horseshoe, and I had long hair, I smoked cigarettes, you know, like they saw me as this guy who like scored really high on the PSAT and was really outgoing. I saw me as a kid who was going to go home and smoke with my dad. But they saw something in me and they came up and they said, "Hey, Reed, we think Camp Horseshoe would be really good for you." I didn't want to go. It was scary to me. Be around a bunch of kids who don't smoke and don't get it and don't know what it's like. Why would I do that? Mm-hmm. But like they saw something in me and I felt that. And something else I've learned on my spiritual journey, you know when you're doing the right thing and you know when you're not doing. The devil's voice is clear. Yeah, you can say you disguise it. Nah, you know when you're doing the wrong thing. Your intuition, your gut is going to tell you that. I've learned that big in my adult life, is that your intuition is not going to lead you. Might put you in some bad or inconvenient situations, but you're never going to regret following that. And so I look back when I was 16 and I said yes to that. Intuitively, I knew that there was something there for me. It was a hard decision, but I went and I showed up and I went back. David, my mentor, you know, he had taken me to, he had invited me to go to lunch when I was 18 before I graduated. And I knew him from Camp Horseshoe and Youth in Government and stuff a few times. That was unique to me for somebody to reach out and say like, "Hey, would you like to go to lunch?" I'm like, is that appropriate? Is that normal? I've never had anybody do that before. And so I consulted with my aunt and another friend of mine. They're like, "Yeah, I mean, if you feel okay about it, do it." And like, I felt uncomfortable to start. But then again, if it's related with Camp Horseshoe, it's related with this positive experience, I should say yes to go find out what's there for me. And what's there has been the most transformative experience in my life. And so the message to the viewer is say yes to the good thing. You're going to feel shame from saying yes to the bad thing or ignoring the good thing.
Sure.
I did that for so long. That's why I did drugs to check out. I want to get high so I can forget about all the bad choices I'm making now. Now I don't choose drugs because I know where it will lead me. And my hardest days today, I mean, I can't lie, like, life sober is hard as fuck too. It's super hard. But I like the challenges of living a sober life versus the one with drugs because I don't know, man. It just feels like I have a little more agency. I feel like I can be proud of. If I don't use drugs, that's a win. I know it can be kind of simplistic, but at the end of the day, if I didn't use drugs, like it was a really good day. So yeah, that would be my message: is lean into the right thing, say yes to it.
Did you battle a time when you were in actually all of the dust has settled, now you're actually sentenced, you're going to prison, and did you have a period of time where what did you do to kick the fact of you're changing your life? Like, this is where I'm not going to pick up and use, like, I'm done with that. And how did you maintain that while you were in prison?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, let me tell the viewer, it's not easy. It wasn't some kind of simple recipe that worked like magic. You know, so I recognize that everybody's journey is different. And it amazes me that people get clean without going to prison. I don't think I could have. Like, you had to really put me in this environment that I didn't want to be in and make me stay there for me to stop using drugs. I loved getting high. It was comfort to me. And so I think, what was the question again?
What did you do to maintain your sobriety while in prison?
Yeah, it was a process. And so it was a really hard commitment that I made on the front end. And then what it was like is, I mean, for the first year, coming off of meth, I don't know if you remember, Chad, coming off of meth, my brain was jacked. And I would watch guys coming in and out of the jail who would come in, they would be high, they'd stay for 90 days, they would leave, they would still be high. And so I could watch these guys like slowly get back to normal and then not fully be normal and go back out. And so I knew 7 months when I got sentenced, I was still not back to normal. I remember being in prison, walking around the track thinking, my brain's still coming back to me. Like, I have to stick with this to get my brain to a normal place. And so I just created a discipline of getting involved in AA and NA. I read the big book. The big book was super transformative. I personally don't do much 12-step work now. I think the 12-step process is something that's beneficial to all human beings. But I do think the big book literature has unlocked something in me that intuitively I knew, but they put the words before. And really, it was a choice. So a lot of times we talk about addiction being a disease. A lot of times people who aren't privy talk about making better choices. I truly think it's both. I think addiction is a disease that causes us to make the same poor choice, even though we want to change. Mm-hmm. And so I was fortunate to have my circumstances change.
Yeah.
And it led me to make that choice, and I've stuck with it. Mm-hmm. And I never wanted to use drugs again, and I'm not going to. Do I want to take my life some? Yeah, absolutely. Like, that's the conversion. Do I want to eat some? Absolutely. Do I want to go exercise until my knees fall? Yeah, for sure. But do I put dope up my nose? No.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't agree with you more, because like for people they don't understand that people that don't have the you know the problem, the disease, the dis-ease, whatever you want it to be, we lose the power of choice when we use. But when we get some time between our last use and you know, a little bit, like I have a choice today. Mm-hmm. I have a choice when I wake up this morning. Like, it's not that I'm like powerless over it today. I was powerless over it all the way up until I wasn't. But for me, I just, you know, and the 12 steps worked really well for me, and I found a power greater than myself, and I, you know, continue to just do work every day. Simple, nothing crazy either. It's just a daily practice, you know, a daily routine. Mm-hmm. You know, and some months I do way better and I do way more and I dive deeper into my spirituality, and some months I'm focused on other stuff. But I consistently wake up every day and I do something, mm-hmm. because I don't want to do what I did before. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to stick a needle in my arm anymore. Like, I absolutely 110% don't want that.
And something as even a teenager I didn't quite realize is how much there is to do that's good.
Sure.
I didn't have a great example of that. You know, my parents, when I was in elementary school, we were involved in a lot of rec and extracurriculars, but that fell apart, and so I didn't get those reps in when I was a teenager. And that's something I wanted to say to the listener today. Like, I've listened to so much self-help and personal development over the past 5 years. And something that really stuck is, like, I look back to who I was at 14, and I was walking down the alley in St. Mary's reading books about like theoretical particle physics, just thinking about being a scientist, not using drugs. And then I go do the complete opposite for 10 years. And then I get clean, and then I ask myself, like, what do I want to do? And so some ideas start to pop up, and then you realize, wait, I can go take a horticulture class in prison. I can learn how to bake a cake out of tray cookies and hot cocoa, okay? I can be the captain of a kickball team. Like, I can read a book. Maybe it takes me 2 months, and I read 3 or 4 pages at a time because my brain's so ravaged. But I could read a book, and now I have something to be proud of. And fortunately for me, I had somebody to call and tell all this shit to. I mean, my mentor, he kept picking up the phone. So I came home, I had a 4-page plan of different things that I knew I would need to stay sober. And as I put that stuff into action for the first year, I just kept seeing results. And I realized, like, I am the author of my story. I get to write whatever I want to in this book. You get to create the most badass book that nobody has ever written before. Like, this is your life. You get to do this. I feel like the world's starved of encouragement. That's why 1 Billion Hugs is such a big thing to me, because I want to bring people together so we can encourage each other. We can look each other in the eyes and tell them how we feel about one another in a positive way. Why are we missing that? I can get onto a speech about that. Mm-hmm. Not what we're here for today, but we are combating consumerism and disconnection.
Yeah.
And I think sharing in these moments of connection, telling each other, you know, speaking life into one another is something that's super key. And with kind of the intent being you have agency, you have sovereignty over yourself. You can choose a life that's different than what you were raised into. And it's been the case for me. And I've got example after example after example of massive wins over the past 5 years. Mm-hmm. I'm still super hungry. I'm still very hard on myself, telling myself that I'm not doing enough, that I'm not where I want to be. So I have to reflect with gratitude and actually look at it. And it's like, dude, it's incredible how far you've gotten. Consistency 60% of the time, right? Imagine if you were 70, 80, 90% consistent with your goals of the things you want to do, like whether it's working out or building businesses or volunteering or building relationships. The point is just putting one foot in the right direction and building momentum over time. It's incredible what can result from that.
Is that how, when you got out, what transpired? Like, what was it that made you think of 1 Billion Hugs and creating something like that?
Wow. All right. This is going to be a long one.
Yeah.
The playbook for me to get there. Wow. It's the first time I've felt very little pressure and somebody's asked me that question. Thank you. Like, this is a blessing because I think it's really important that people hear this about what's possible. It was 6 months after I came home from prison that I finally got a job. I thought I was going to be a truck driver and went to truck driving school. Prison helped pay for that and actually dropped out before I completed. Does this chair come up? Woo. All right.
There you go.
And then I knew I didn't want to be a truck driver. And so I was talking to my case manager at the same mental health agency I've been to for 10 years, the same place that committed me to the hospital when I was manic, when I was a teenager. And I said to my case manager, I dropped out of truck driving school. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. She says, what do you want to do? Great question. I said, I don't know. My grandpa, he had sent me some snippets about peer support while I was in prison. So I thought that would be pretty interesting. She's like, I think you'd be great at it. We have some jobs open here. And that's how I found the youth recovery job. And I was on fire with that purpose. It was the first time I had an office job, so I went and got some $30 dress shoes and some black slacks and some nice shiny shirts that were on sale, and I showed up as my best self. And, I'd gotten into shape because I was overweight when I was in prison. I hadn't been in shape since I was a teenager, or even then. And I show up, and I just realized this positive impact that I had in the workplace, not just with my peers, but especially with my clients. There was a 15-year-old girl. She had just come home from lockup, and she was using, Suboxone and meth. And so to be able to develop a rapport with her and help her go to the clothing closet to get her some clothes and help her apply for jobs so she could get her first job, life-changing for me. And I feel like her mom's still friends with me on social media. And so I'm really grateful that I was able to play that small role in her progression. There was a young man, and he was probably 13 at the time, and he was on the spectrum. And he liked to run, so we would go to the park and we would run and talk about healthy habits. And there's a guy in his early 20s, and he was still struggling, so I had to witness him falling out of the caseload and go back into addiction. Now we're connected online, and he's clean for a couple years now. And I got to message him and tell him how proud I was. So I see him heart my stuff all the time, and I'm like, damn, I wasn't the reason he got sober, but I get to witness it. And so there is hope for people who are struggling. I'm not going to say the guy's name, but who's on the spectrum. I mean, he's a teenager now, and he's thriving socially, and praying for the other girl. I don't know how she's doing, but I hope she's okay. And so that job really showed me the impact I can have one-on-one with people because of my experiences. So it was proof of concept that what I had gone through was relevant professionally. I had worked at Domino's Pizza or Little Caesars or telemarketing, or I worked on the river as a deckhand for a little bit, labor jobs, but nothing ever serious. And so I felt serious in this role. Super serious in this role, so serious that I saw the problems we were trying to solve as an organization, and I saw the systems that were in place, and I saw how ineffective they were in some ways. Like, we're going to hire you for the youth peer recovery role, but you're not allowed to go in the high schools anymore because the principal called and said, do you guys not remember what Reed Byers did? Yeah, I sung all that dope is what I did. That's why you guys hired me. Like, you knew this in the interview. You said I could go work with the kids because of my lived experience, and now you don't want me there because of what the administration. I get it. I did some bad things. I understand. Wasn't allowed in the Boys and Girls Club eventually, wasn't allowed in the alternative school, and so I got confined in my role, and just ethically, it wasn't okay with me. We had kids who were identifying as high risk from suicide talks, who had, meth-using family members, and, I would get referred to them, but I wouldn't be able to go because they were in a school setting. And I'm like, that's unacceptable. We've got millions of dollars from the state of West Virginia funding this organization, and I'm not allowed to do the job that you guys hired for me. That's okay.
And you're the number one candidate to go actually speak and relate, and to actually have somebody relate to and listen to and understand and connect to. But that's my opinion.
But no.
Yeah.
And so I pivoted. Something I've gotten really good about knowing is that, when God closes one door, it's just the next one to open up and walk through. And so I left that job, and it was within the next 6 months. I've been active in therapy since I was 17. So I got active in therapy when I came home from prison. And I had a therapist at the time who I was talking to about all my different interests. So one of the first things I did when I came home from prison was go to church. I've never been a very religious person. I had some spiritual experiences when I got manic. So like I've definitely connected with God. But as far as Christianity goes, like I have my own qualms with it. Like I've spent some time in the church, but like the Bible, you know, in some ways just didn't quite click with me. But I knew that I needed some positive community and I wanted to be good. And I feel like going to church was associated with being good. So I went to church and I was right. And, you know, Andrea, God bless her, she remembered my name. The first time I went, introduced myself. She had a mask on, but I could see the smile through her eyes. And I didn't go back for a couple weeks. So when I went back, she said, "Hey, Reed, good morning. Good to see you." I'm like, "How does she know my name?" I'm like, "She remembered. It's been weeks since she remembered my name." So that told me that I belonged there. So next thing you know, I'm part of the First Impressions team. And next thing you know, I'm helping with the Friendship Kitchen and we're serving meals. And next thing you know, I'm helping with different hygiene and beauty products donations and distributing those around the communities and doing food boxes. And volunteerism was a big part of my life and my sobriety. Next thing you know, a guy that I worked with at Westbrook, I got involved with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention's Hike for Hope and started fundraising for that. And I was a big runner at the time. I remember I ran a 5K in a shark costume on my birthday because why not? And so the shark kind of got a public reputation back in Parkersburg. And I started pledging miles to run for dollars donated as the shark. And it blew up. They did a story on the news about it. We raised, you know, several $1,000s for the Hike for Hope. And so I started a second job, brought West Virginia its first Healthy Kids running series. And so I was on Facebook, and I had a Facebook ad hit me. It's like, become a community coordinator for Healthy Kids running series. And I like to run, and I was working with kids at the time. Even one of my clients liked to run, and I got to run with them. I'm like, that could be a good thing. And I was like, but no, I can't do something. Like, that's too much responsibility. Like, I'm not good enough for that. I wouldn't know how to do it. I'm not that good with, like, young kids. But I just called them. I just said yes to the good thing. It pulled on my heart, right? That's the message. And I remember talking to Maureen, was her name at the time. And I said, I would love to do this. She says, I think you'd be a great fit. I said, but I've got a couple felonies. She said, oh. She said, well, thanks for telling me. She said, I don't think we've ever had that situation, but I can talk to Jeff, the founder, if you'd like. I'm like, please. She's like, yeah, let me talk to him. They were willing to take a chance. And so I went to our local run club. And you can see, like, as I'm storytelling here, like the different times I took initiative to make something good happen because I was connected to my purpose, trying to be helpful. And so I show up at the running club. I was like, hey, guys, is it okay if I do this? Like, are y'all going to have a problem with it? Like, I've got this background. I don't want to, make anybody feel unsafe. And they said, yeah, we think it's a great idea. So I got to bring West Virginia's first Healthy Kids running series. And not just me, but like we had so many volunteers, so many businesses that sponsored it, so many families that came out, like over 150 kids. And I remember sitting there after the 5th week, and the volunteers had gotten so good, they were just packing up without me. And I sat there and I took a moment and I realized, like, wow, this is possible. Like, these young people will have this experience as a core memory. The families had something positive to do with their kids. People came out and they were a part of something bigger than themselves, and I orchestrated it. I was just doing dope 3 years ago. I was just in prison. Like, I've never really believed in myself. Like, how is this possible? And so it kept showing me what's possible. And so I remember talking to my therapist about all these different things that I really like doing: volunteering, fundraising, running, youth peer support. He said, you do good to start your own nonprofit. He said, you're kind of a nomad out here helping with the YMCA and the Youth Leadership Association. He said, you could start your own nonprofit. I'm like, okay. I'm like, how do I do that? And so my mentor, he's the director of a nonprofit. I said, what do you think? He says, I think it would be a good idea. So next thing you know, I'm looking up the different philanthropic foundations in our area, and I'm going and I'm knocking on doors saying, hey, do you have a minute? Could you give me some advice on this? Could you give me some advice on this? I'm calling up the United Way and different nonprofits saying, like, what do you think? And so I got the advice. It said, to people who are looking to start a nonprofit, we asked 2 questions. One, is there a need in the community? Yes, young people are dying from drugs. For sure, there's a need to help with youth peer recovery support. And the second one is there somewhere in the community that is already providing those services that you could fit underneath, or that would be a good fit? And so I was in therapy again, and I was telling my therapist, like, hey, this is what I found out. I'm not really sure what to do. He said, well, we actually have a nonprofit called Give More Connections, and we help with mental health, and we help families. I said, cool, can I do this through you guys? He's like, well, let me get back to you. 2 weeks later, he and his business partner come back, and they have a 1099 contract where I would have to fundraise to fund this program, so I wouldn't get paid to it until it was like, funded. But they were willing to offer their 501c3, be a fiscal agent, some office space, some collaboration, and some guidance. I had a contract. I don't know nothing about a contract. Like, what do you mean? Like 1090? I don't know what this means. 501c3, I don't know. I learned. Google's amazing. And now we've got ChatGPT.
Yeah.
There's no excuse. If you want to know something.
There's zero excuse today.
Yeah.
Zero excuse.
None.
Distraction is going to be the excuse.
Yeah,
Self-doubt
sure.
and fear.
Yes. Yeah.
So you gotta
I mean,
compete with
and the
that.
thing about ChatGPT is it'll give you like step by step how to do it. It's crazy.
I had chat read an MRI image.
I
over
do
the
that.
summer.
I do that. I send medical stuff to ChatGPT
It was
all the
analyzing
time.
my tennis strokes last night. It's so good.
And it's crazy that it can do all that stuff now. Oh wait, it can analyze videos now.
Yeah. If you've got the plus,
I have the plus
yeah, if you've got the
professional.
Pro PP Plus.
Yeah, I got that one. Mine's like $200 a month.
Yeah, it can analyze videos.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm. This is a whole new level, Emily.
And so you can ask chat how to use the video analysis. So I
Okay,
asked-
where were we?
we were using Google to change
Yeah.
the world pretty much.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know anything about any of this stuff, but I've always been resourceful. And so I used Google to research all these things I was getting interested in, and I just moved through things with confidence that like if I would dedicate myself to it to figure it out, then it would work out, because it did time and time again. Like I didn't plan the youth peer job. It just happened. I didn't plan being the community coordinator for the kids running series. It just happened. I didn't plan getting a shark costume. It just popped up on Walmart.com. I didn't plan on winning the race. I just ran because I like to run. And so within a year of being home from prison, I was on fire with some self-belief. And again, I mean, plug to all of the motivational speakers and personal development people on YouTube, because Tony Robbins, David Goggins, Eric Thomas, they popped up in my algorithm.
Yeah.
And now I went to Motiversity
For sure.
Yeah.
for a
That
year
Motiversity.
until I started breaking my legs from training so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got injured once because of David, Mr. Goggins.
So as I'm going through all this stuff, I'm learning what I like to do, and I'm learning what I don't like to do. And we spent 6 or 8 months building that nonprofit program called How to Save a Life. I started going to Chamber of Commerce events and ribbon cuttings and Rotary meetings and speaking a little bit. Ooh, this is a good one. I left this one out. So for Healthy Kids Running Series, I said, man, I really want to make this the best I can make it. What do I do? And I was standing in line at GNC, and there was this article about the Temple Challenge. And Stacy Hauser in Parkersburg, she's a wonderful physical trainer. She founded this Temple Challenge to help people get healthy. And in this article, there was a proclamation that the mayor had written. And the mayor was actually at a little Temple Challenge thing to read the proclamation. I was like, I want that for Healthy Kids Running Series. So I called up the mayor's office, and I said, hey, could the mayor come and do this, please? Could he come out on opening day and like ring a bell horn or something to start the races? She's like, well, no, he's busy. I said, well, what about a proclamation? She's like, do you have one? I'm like, let me hit the Google real quick and I'll get you one. So I sent in a proclamation. I didn't hear back from him for a couple weeks, and like it was almost opening day. And so I called my mentor, because he's adjacent to government, being in nonprofit work. And I said, if they were going to do this, would it be on the agenda for city council? He's like, yeah. So I looked it up. It wasn't on the agenda, so I started getting nervous. I said, are these meetings public? Can I just go to it? He said, yeah. Where are they? The city building. Where's that? And so I figured out, I go into the municipal building. Boom, here's city council. And this council of people who, I'm like, these got to be like lawyers or doctors or career politicians. I don't know how any of this stuff works. And so I'm sitting in the back trying to stay out the way. And the mayor starts with his executive summary. He's like, yeah, I got this request for a proclamation about a kids running program. He's like, I think I see him in the back there. Reed, why don't you come up and tell us about the program? I had never spoken in public at this point. Terrified. So I go up there, blackout, apparently made some sense. And he's like, no, you did a good job. And he said, we'll get the proclamation signed for you. But something stood out to me at the end of that meeting, and this really changed everything. Wendy Tuck, she is the only Democrat, maybe one or two of 9, not to be partisan, but just to show a contrast of our composition there. And this was right after COVID or during COVID. We're getting $22 million from the American Rescue Plan Act, COVID money. And she says, we're getting all this money. We want to know how you, your family, your organizations, your businesses have been affected by COVID so we can better use this money. I'm like, damn, Wendy, like, okay, you go, girl. Like, that's not what I think government is. I don't think government cares about what would be good for us. I just think that they make the rules and do their thing. So that stood out to me. And she said, reach out to me. I want to listen. I reached out to her. I said, hey, Wendy, sorry at council. Thanks for doing that. I would love to share what my experience has been like. Next thing you know, we're walking in the park. And we've developed a friendship. I got to see her before I flew out here. She cooked soup and brought oranges and cheese crackers to come have lunch at the office before I left. What a blessing of a human being. But we ended up organizing a meeting with nonprofit leaders about how are we going to spend this money effectively to serve the community. So next thing you know, like I'm here with a city council person organizing meetings with CEOs and executive directors just because I want to be helpful. And so ad nauseum on this story, I mean, I could go on and on all day about the different milestones in my short 5-year career. A couple of them being coaching some employees who were in recovery at the Drug Intervention Institute in West Virginia. That was really meaningful to me. Another one was volunteering on the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention's board. It's like, what do you mean a board of directors? What's that? Like, you want me? And so next thing I'm on 10 different boards with different organizations. And helping with the Youth Leadership Association. Eventually, I ran for city council in Belpre, lost very narrowly as a write-in. And then I had a governor's candidate reach out via DM. It's like, hey, Reed, I hear good things about you. I want to share my story of recovery with you. I'm running for governor in 2024. And so we developed a friendship, and that really showed me that I had promise in politics if I wanted it. And so I ran for board of education back in 2024 and got elected. And I've had all different kinds of experiences in the giving, the helping field, right? Nonprofit work, from helping young entrepreneurs and professionals want to stay in West Virginia to serving on the Boys and Girls Club board. And as I transitioned away from my seat on the Board of Education and I moved into this new season, and I started a business in 2022 doing motivational speaking so I could do contract consulting work so I could tell my story. And again, I've learned what I like and what I don't like and the things that I want to help in, right? I want to help people heal from their trauma. I want to help create a world that doesn't traumatize children, right? I want to create a connected world so we don't have to, deal with getting people clean because people aren't using substances in the first place. I'm not naive to think that people won't ever use drugs again, but I do believe that we can reduce it to where people have a reason to want to stay. In suicide prevention, a lot of the training is directed at keeping people alive, and I think our efforts should be focused on creating a world where people want to stay. And that's one of the core messages of 1 Billion Hugs is we want to create 1 billion reasons to stay. Because if we create a world like that, we won't have to worry about people taking their lives or using drugs. And so as I resigned from the Board of Education and moved out to DC to be a part of this entrepreneurs mastermind and kind of write the next chapter of my story,
Keep going.
I asked myself, who is it I want to be? What is it I want to do? And
That's my daughter.
hey, nice to meet you. All good. No, it's cool. It's good to have the break. It's good.
Keep talking. Go
All
ahead.
good? Okay. Yeah.
You're good.
So I moved out to DC, and I was working on a really cool project for recovery leadership, interviewing innovative organizations in Appalachia, doing good work, helping people who needed help with addiction. And I also had a sweet contract as a director of philanthropy for a nonprofit. And so I had tried to transition away from Appalachia because something I've learned is we don't have what we need there. We need so much there, and a lot of it is financial. We need a mindset shift too, and I was sitting at all these different tables trying to make a change, and we just didn't have what we needed. So I'm like, I got to go out there and get it for us. How am I going to do that? Are you going to be a paid motivational speaker? Are you going to refine your consulting business? Are you going to write your book? And that was part of what I thought I was going to do, was write my book in 2025. Things didn't work out with my book agent. I took it as a sign. And then 1 Billion Hugs really just showed up on my heart. So back in 2010, I went to Vans Warped Tour in Columbia, Maryland. Yeah, thrashing out. So stoked. It was the first time I ever saw a Free Hugs t-shirt. Just like white t-shirts with the Free Hugs on the front. And I was like, that's so cool. What a cool idea. 30th birthday a few years ago, my friend gets me a Free Hugs t-shirt. Because I did the Sharpie concept a couple times at some advocacy events, and people would come up, and it was beautiful. And so she got me a shirt. And like I live with bipolar disorder. I have to take meds. I still struggle with suicide. It's just part of like my journey. And I was having a couple really shitty days. And so I didn't get out of bed. And finally, I was like, I have to get out of bed. So I went to get some biscuits and some muffins because that's how I cope with my emotions sometimes. And the last shirt in my closet always was the Free Hugs t-shirt. And so I didn't even know I had it on at the time, but I walk in the door of Tudor's Biscuit World, and the woman behind the counter, she was jumping up and down, pointing at her chest, and I didn't know what she was doing. And I looked down and realized I had the Free Hug shirt on, and she wanted a hug. And so, yeah, come out, you can get a hug. And so she comes and she squeezes me, gives me this big old hug. She says, you don't know how bad I needed that. And I said, I needed it too. And so in that moment, I knew that just showing up as my authentic self, right, was a gift that could change everything. This couple, 7-year-old couple, they witnessed this happen. I sat down, got my food. And as they were walking past me, they said, thank you for wearing that shirt. We appreciate you. And so here I was trying to off myself, laying in bed at the house by myself, because humans are meant to be in connection with other people, not in dark apartments on their own. Who designed this world? It's not working. Okay, so let's bring people together in connection so we don't want to kill ourselves. It wasn't long after that I was dealing with suicide again. And I remember I was on the phone with 988, because I call 988 because sometimes I can't afford therapy. It's $250 an hour. Like, maybe I need somebody to talk to more than twice a week. So I called 988 and I'm venting about all this stuff. And I was like, what kind of crazy world is it? I got all these cars buzzing past me, but like nobody to talk to. And so I gave a TEDx talk called How to Save a Life. And I talk about the disconnection that we're facing. And the focus of my work has been suicide prevention, mental health, addiction recovery. And I thought, what can I do as an entrepreneur to create an impact? Instead of volunteering all my time away to where I have no money and then trying to fundraise to fund stuff through a nonprofit format that, in my opinion, doesn't really work in West Virginia. We're so strapped in the nonprofit ecosystem. But I see Brad Smith, who moved from West Virginia out to California, decades ago. He became the CEO of TurboTax and Intuit.
Oh, okay.
And then he came back to West Virginia, and now he's the president of Marshall University. He doesn't need that job. But he has given $50 million to Marshall University to make sure the kids can graduate without debt. And he is revitalizing 4th Avenue and promoting entrepreneurship. So he's been an inspiration to me of what you can do when you go out and you're successful as an entrepreneur. And I think West Virginia needs more examples like that. But I'm like, how do you monetize? That sounds awful. Suicide prevention.
Right. Sure.
It's not awful.
No, it's not, because we've monetized recovery.
Yeah.
Totally.
The world runs on money. I didn't make the rules.
Yeah.
for sure.
No, it needs money to
You need
be
money
able
to do anything.
Money's good. Money's beautiful.
Yes.
Money's love.
Yeah.
I wish I could go just give everybody $1,000
Sure.
right now.
Totally.
And so what if we got 1 billion people hugging? What if 1 in 7 or 1 in 8 people said yes to I'll invest in a shirt? What if they believe that 1 billion reasons to stay is a worthwhile endeavor? What if 10% of that billion went to youth programs in Appalachia so those kids have loving, caring, supportive adults in their lives? And that's where this started to take shape. I'm like, I could really just create these wearable symbols of hope, brand it with the most amazing social impact brand ever created, just like Nike was a performance brand back in who knows what. You know what they did in sales the first year? $6,000. Second year, $20,000. Okay, so everybody has to get started somewhere. You see the Nike swoosh, performance, just do it. You see 1 billion hugs, love connection, and we're changing the world. We're bringing people together. And so we launched in August. We had a great first month, had tons of people invest and support the mission. We had tons of press, newspapers, we had some commercials done, and people have really gotten involved in the movement. I had to slow down because I wasn't even ready to keep up. I thought I was. Plans kind of changed a little bit, and I'm like, whoa. There's no lack of opportunity. There's no lack of need. I'm only one human being. What's the right way to build this movement? Because I have to realize just because you don't get to 1 billion in 3 months doesn't mean it's not working. And so that's part of coming out to California is maybe this is a good place to start to share the story, start to share some hope, start to share the message, and see kind of how it grows from out here. So, yeah.
I love that.
Hashtag 1 billion hugs.
Yeah. If anybody that's listening wants to support the mission and join the movement, where do they go?
Yeah, 1billionhugs.com. There's a hug counter if they want to keep track of their hugs. There's a group on
cute.
Facebook called 1 Billion Hugs, and it's a place to share photos and videos of you, giving hugs or connecting, share stories about your experience with mental health or addiction. We want to bring people together in community. So Facebook, Instagram, 1 Billion Hugs, 1billionhugs.com.
How cute. And can people get shirts there too?
Yeah, we've got short sleeve, long sleeve hoodies.
Nice.
Yep.
And I'm giving away free hugs today. Right there. Look at that.
That
It's free.
sounds so not.
And so the hugs, let me be clear, we got to be so careful because this message will reach schools at some point, right? And I got to be careful with physical touch. So it's an invitation, not an expectation.
There you go.
Consent first
Chad?
only.
The guy that gives the least hugs in the
For sure.
in the world.
is wearing free hugs right now.
Yeah.
Where someone's
it's,
going to come up to you and try to give you a hug, and you're going to be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, if I forget I have the shirt on.
The shirts come with the muscles.
Yeah.
Free hugs. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should see. Oh.
Oh.
Let's see what happens. Let's
see what
wear our
happens.
shirt
Let's wear our
tomorrow.
Yep, boom.
At
Done.
the Costco. We're
Yeah.
gonna do.
Let's
we're
see
gonna
how many
do-
hugs I get and how many hugs Kat
Yep,
gets.
we're gonna count.
Yes!
Yep.
Emily, that's what
Emily.
we're doing. Oh my God, that's such a good concept.
Emily's rolling her eyes a little bit. Though.
Oh, I think.
Who do- Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we gotta go fast. But it make it
But I feel
it'll
like
make
makes
it really
way
easy. Like, you know what would be funny is let's just say that I get 0 hugs and she gets a bunch. Let's just because this podcast will be out after the Costco haul, huh?
No, we're
Who do you
doing it
think's
for
gonna
real.
hug me?
No one.
ooh.
Oh, it's gonna be Mark. Mark, our guy that checks
Checks
us out. Yeah.
That's weird. He checks us out. He's like, hey. Every time we go into Costco, this dude just like, he's like, hey, what's going on? You guys looking good over there, huh? That's a good one. Was
yeah.
it not, Emily? You did? It came in your head too? Okay, cool. See, yep, it's because we're autistic.
Oh God. Okay. Sure. I love it. I think that it's
I like
amazing.
it. And I like the fact that this is going to be, we have a theme for our Costco haul tomorrow.
Now we do because of you.
Mark's life's
And-
gonna be changed forever.
Yeah.
This is, well, it could be, because we need to make sure we because our Costco hauls do better than our fucking podcast. Not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, people really look forward to it. But I like this because now we have like a Costco haul mission.
And we haven't done a Costco haul. This will be our first Costco haul for 2026, and we didn't do the last 2 weeks in a row. So
yeah.
this one might go viral.
Yep, we'll make sure we give a shout out.
1 billion hugs.
1
1
billion
billion
hugs.
1 billion hugs.
Spreading a human connection, which I forget who says it, but it's also the whoever is like the opposite of like addiction or something. I don't forget the saying.
Fausto says it.
No.
Yes,
I
he
think
does.
it's
He
Gabe-
does.
I think
No.
it's Gabor Mate.
Yeah, thank you. It's not Fausto.
Fausto
it's fucking
says it
somebody
all
else.
the time.
Yeah, then he stole it.
He says the opposite of addiction is connection.
Yeah, but he's not the one that created it and started. Don't.
Well, that's
No.
ChatGPT plus.
What if it has a picture of
Stop,
Fausto?
it wouldn't.
Fausto Castelleleon.
It wouldn't.
Huh? The hope dealer.
Yeah, I know.
Huh?
Right? Like literally, this massive plug over here.
Fausto, I hope you're watching this, my man.
I'm dead.
I'm dead. Are you?
I lost my train of thought, and it was a good one.
It was.
You're talking about connection, human
Yes.
connection.
Which obviously, you hit something really important in what it is like. Not only are you breaking the stigma, right, of somebody that's able to transform their own personal lives with your personal testimony, but also, addiction and suicide go hand in hand, whether it's from an overdose or whether it's from somebody just like isolating themselves and being so lonely, because a lot of the times we pick up and use because we want to escape how we feel or our thoughts or whatever it may be. And ultimately it's because we have those dark ideations of suicide and going to dark places, and that's because we are lonely. And the only thing that really can heal that is the uncomfortableness of connection, which like I understand why it is so imperative when you work a 12-step program. Why? And by the way, you were working a 12-step program without working a 12-step program because you're just being of service, giving back to people what you were like so freely given. And
Step 12. It's a constant step 12. That's
exactly.
That's
and
that's
which is
the
why you
one.
probably felt so fulfilled, is because ultimately all of us human beings are
Thank
supposed
you
to serve.
For saying
And
that.
it's so true. And the thing is like what's so interesting is that like there's two things that I stuck out to me today. I mean, multiple things, but I think it is important because people have battled so much with religion and church and all of these things where humans, we make it so complicated, because ultimately I really truly believe, and there's going to be outliers, but intuitively we know good and bad. like, and you fulfill yourself when you're doing good. Like, your intuition knows when you're like on that right path or that right little like journey. And you said that you were like on fire for the first year, but it's like because regardless of what that may be, us as humans, and because we are approaching, or we are in 2026, and you hear all these like New Year's resolutions and all these things, which I think are great, and people have like such a combativeness with the New Year's resolutions, where I think like anything goes where you want to better yourself, have at it. I think it's a beautiful thing. But going off of like all of us and what Chad had mentioned earlier too, is like every individual, every human has certain little things that they need to figure out for themselves of daily disciplines, whatever that may be. It's going to look different for every single person, especially for people that work a program, don't work a program, people that are normies, people that aren't normies. It could be like eating good. It could be drinking water. It could be moving your body. It could be whatever it is, but it's like finding what is good for you, because what that does is instill little daily wins that you end up are esteemable acts, which then you feel good about yourself, which then you feel like can lead into a positive, purposeful life. And it's like doing those over consistently amount of times then fuels something where sometimes a lot of the time we don't know, like, wait, why do I feel so much better all of a sudden? Well, it's because you're showing up for yourself. And then you're able to then go and serve and pour into other people. But going back to the billion hugs, I think that your story is so beautiful because it just shows to somebody that is listening or somebody that is watching, it doesn't matter where you start. It does not matter like where you were raised, how you were raised, what bad decisions that we've made, or thinking that this is it and having absolutely zero hope in our lives, when it's like we can flip that shit on a dime because we're the author of our own story.
That's it.
And we're able to then change the script. And that's on it every day, because all of us sitting at this table, and I know that for a fact because I can speak for him, is that we struggle differently every single day. Not every day is going to wake up and be like, I'm ready. you know what I mean? But in some days it's literally like, bitch, get the fuck up. Like, we're moving. But I think it's important for all of us to like share that, because on the outside, because we live in such a connected fake world, which is lacking connection, which is like so ironic considering like social media has like this fallacy of connection when there's never been so many people feeling so isolated, because we live in like, our highlight reels, and which is great. And I love social media. I think that's a beautiful tool too, but it's also remembering like everybody battles with something and not every day is perfect. It's like having to continue to show up. And that's what you've continued to do throughout prison, throughout coming out, and just showing up from going and being vocal and honest about you having a mentor, you talking to your therapist, you going to like all of the stuff that you have accomplished required action. Like you had to like show up and be okay with whatever happened. A no, yeah, right. Or your record. I don't think so, kid. Like, little things like that, but you just keep going. And now you're sitting here today. Now you're like living in fucking, doing the rent
house
your
sitting,
house.
right? I'm
like,
a professional
what?
house sitter. I got zero rent. I stay in.
Did you know that you could be a professional house sitter?
You did?
Oh,
I
did you?
didn't. Yeah, this is
No, it's new to me.
Met a woman at a conference. She said she's been on the road 3 years doing.
I'm about to fucking rent a house.
Let's go.
Rent a house or be a professional house sitter. why are you gonna rent a house?
I knew what you meant.
Thank you, Reed. It's a tough crowd in here.
85% of how you
Thank
say
you, right? But you know what?
Like,
What if
I'm
I
gonna
had
rent, you know what? You all are professional house sitters, but I'm gonna rent a house so you can come over and professionally sit it.
Hey,
Wait.
if you want to rent the house that I'm house sitting in,
Yeah.
I can cut you a deal.
Yeah, I cut you a
Wait,
deal.
what about is there a tab for if you have like I have a dog. Can I bring my dog
Some
to her
people
house?
will let that. You just consult with the owner. Or you could just, or you could just lie and take it anyways. Whatever your vibe is.
We
I have a good
we
dog.
got cameras in our house, so
I got a good dog.
Sometimes I wonder if they've got like cameras.
Oh, for sure, right?
Because I'm gonna keep it real. Like I don't really wear a lot of clothes around the house
Yes.
most of the time.
Oh, really?
Reed,
Reed,
you're on
listen,
a ton of fucking
listen.
cameras, bruh. we're gonna do
No
a
wonder
deep
they
dive.
no
Do you
wonder they
ever
let
do
me
you ever
stay
do
for
like
free.
like Tom Cruise from that movie
Oh,
Risky,
yeah, Risky
Business,
Business.
come sliding out in your boxers
I
We're
went to
gonna-
the
with your
Church of
brush
Scientology
singing a
couple
song?
days ago.
Huh?
I said I stopped by the Scientology church a couple days ago.
In L.A.
Yeah,
You did?
It seemed interesting.
For sure.
Yeah,
Bro,
Hey, if it worked for
be
Tom
careful
Cruise,
with that
if it worked for
stuff.
Tom,
They,
Yeah.
they grab you, they get
They
something
do.
on you, and then boom.
I went down the rabbit hole of what's her name? She was on the King of Queens. What's her name? The actress. She was part of Scientology for years.
the redhead, or is she redhead?
No, she has dark hair. She's
tried.
friends with. Oh my God, Leah.
Leah Toms?
Wait, can you look it up, Emily?
Leah
before?
Londe?
It's a King of Queens actress. Leah.
Go ahead and look that up for us. She switched the camera
Oh,
on
did
me,
she?
so now I gotta like keep talking.
Yeah.
I actually did it.
Yeah,
wrong.
you're failing.
I know, failing.
You're failing. I'm winning.
And I hate to bring it back serious, but you were really on some poetic stuff right there,
Thank you.
talking about how an individual can author their moment any day, and I think that's a big element of this is showing up and like on our bad days. Like we know some days are gonna suck, but what if you just wrote down on your bad days like I'm gonna have the best day? It can still suck, and you can still tell yourself that, right?
Yes, Leah. Yes, and it's on like Hulu or Amazon or Netflix or whatever. It goes down the deep darkness of her experience with Scientology. But going back to what you were saying, for sure, and I think that's a huge one, especially approaching. Or I keep saying approaching, is because
great
we
word.
are in our new year.
Oh,
The power. I mean, it's in the Bible.
What is?
Life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Yeah.
So which one are you gonna feed?
Yeah.
When I moved to DC and I joined that entrepreneurs mastermind, I was talking to a friend of mine. His name's Yannick Silver. He wrote Evolved Enterprise, which really unlocked my entrepreneurial journey. I didn't even get into that story. I could tell stories all day. But I was telling him, I said, man, since I joined this mastermind, I've noticed the language people use, not just the words they say, but how they say things. So much different than what I grew up around in West Virginia. West Virginia is one of the poorest states in the country. This group of people I was around is a very affluent group of people. He's like, it makes sense. He said, your words create your life, your reality, your future. And they do. And so if I'm listening to personal development, I'm listening to positive affirmations, if I'm speaking things of positivity out into the world, how am I going to live? If I tell myself I'm a worthless piece of shit inside my head and I don't talk to another human being, because we know that 60% of our thoughts are default negative.
100%.
Acting crazy in our brains.
Acting crazy.
Got to get out the bedroom and go hug somebody.
Go hug someone. It's true. I mean, if you really pay attention to, and I struggle with this one of like the it's hard to anything for ourselves. Like we would never talk to ourselves the way that we do to another human being, or let alone to a friend, acquaintance. We always like try to encourage them or tell them how they're amazing or things are going to work out. But within ourselves, or at least myself, I will tear myself apart, no problem. And so I think like the biggest key is remembering how powerful our words are, even amongst ourselves, even more so. So if it's like a constant narrative in my head of like, this isn't going to work out, I'm a terrible human being, is like, okay, keep going, because that's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And like that shit is so true, because you hear so many stories from so many different people, so many different walks of life, saying the same thing of changing just that one shift in our minds. That's why it's like I do believe in master the mind, master everything.
Could you imagine, for real though, if you talk to people like you talk to yourself?
No.
Because like this is the things I'm going to tell you guys, some of the things that I would say to people if they were me. Look at you. You're disgusting. You're a fat, disgusting pig. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Why are you so ugly? Oh, that is like shit that I tell myself sometimes in
sure.
my head. Could you imagine if you said that to your friend?
Convincingly, too. Like
Convincingly.
And really
Like-
believing it, like really feeling it. We're like, there's some days, like I know it's true for you too. There are some days where like I literally believe myself. Like I'm
Yeah.
full.
Like
full-fledged,
I am like, yeah, you're
yeah.
disgusting. You're
And you're a loser.
You're a
loser.
bitch.
Yeah. you didn't
You're
do.
never gonna get
Could
there.
you imagine?
You're worthless.
Like
you're
you call
lazy,
your
you're not
one
doing
of your
enough.
best
Totally.
bros a bitch,
Never.
he might sock you in your face. Like if you really called him that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and like,
Or
I'll,
like, yeah,
I'll
yeah.
just tear myself apart.
Which is so bad. We need like, and I get it, and it's so difficult, and that's why it's like with people that are listening, it's like it's not like this easy switch or this easy thing to do. And I think lately, I've been on the journey of being more so negative with myself than I have been probably in quite some time. But I have consciously, or I'm self-aware of like the shift and being like, at least when I have those thoughts that are coming in that I want to just like annihilate myself, I try to only allow it for like a word and switch that bitch on a dime or do something where we just posted, because young Emily does the NemFit page too, is that I love Tony Robbins. I'm like all the people that you talk about, we listen to him too.
Yeah.
And he has a great little catchphrase, and it's so true, like even scientifically proven, is like change your state, like where your mental, like where your thoughts are at, by moving your body. And it doesn't matter what that may be. Go outside for like 5 minutes and go for a walk, or like even just doing jumping jacks in place or something like that, just switching it up, because it's like if you sit there and you stew, you will stew. And then what good is that going to do? And it's not good for yourself, and it's not good for anybody else that's around you, you know? But it's like really being open and honest with people, but like every single person, I don't care who you are, they struggle with some sort of thought like that. They just know how the ones that are super successful and like, say a Tom Brady or a Michael Jordan or a Kobe Bryant that are high achievers, they're able to switch their mind on a dime and not take them to those places and allow that fear or allow that negativity to fuel their greatness
And it's a practice.
daily.
And I think it's so important because like what you said a little bit ago is like our minds tend to go negative. It's really important what we feed ourselves, not just in our mouths, but in our eyes, in our nose, and especially in our ears. You know, I can sit around and listen. If I'm listening to negative stuff all day, my thoughts are going to be negative all day. Like this morning, I'm up. Motiversity is a channel that I listen to. The other one I listen to is Absolute Motivation on YouTube. And like when I'm shaving my head and I'm getting ready in the morning, that's what's playing. I don't want negativity. I want to hear things that are going to advance me, push me. Because really, it's not about motivation. It's really it comes down to discipline.
Yeah.
You know, getting up and that's the one thing I love about David Goggins is he's like, you know, he ran to callous his mind for when things go bad. You know, but like the truth is like if I have a bad day, I'm still going to the gym. If my finances aren't where I want them to be, I'm still going to the gym. If the insurance companies aren't paying me, I'm still going to the gym. Like I'm still going to do the same stuff. I'm still going to get up and I'm going to come to work and I'm going to show up. Because I believe that that's what ultimately makes all those things come to fruition. You know, our thoughts control our actions, control our feelings, and it controls our words. And the most important thing that we have are our words. You know, like I actually believe in Chad today. I believe that I'm going to continue to be successful. I believe that no matter what is in front of me, I can get through it. I also believe that the devil tries to throw things in to distract me. We could call it the devil. We could call it, negative forces. We could call it the bad whatever of the universe. I don't care what people call it. But just know that whatever power you believe in is greater than that power. And that that the negative power or the devil is what I like to call him. I like to call him the God and devil. The devil really only has the ability to distract you, and he wants to distract you from your purpose. You know, and I will tell people because I have done a lot of cool shit in my life, and he only has the ability to distract me. But the more cool shit that I do in my life, or the more I'm living in my purpose, the more he tries to throw it in. But guess what? I don't even look at it most of the time anymore. I've been like especially the last couple months, I'm just like, I'm over it. I'm over it. You're not going to distract me. You're not going to get me off course. I know what's happening. I'm living my purpose, and it's not about the destination, about where I'm going to arrive. It's about each freaking day, this journey of this bus ride that I'm on. And how beautiful is it if I actually just get to take the moment and, be in this podcast studio and look out the window and be present in the moment. When you're present in the moment, none of those things matter. My bank account doesn't matter. My fears and my worries don't matter when I'm right here, right now, in this very moment. Because that's where God lives. God lives only in the moment. He doesn't live in the past, and he doesn't live in the future. He lives right here, right now. And it's a beautiful thing when we can take just a moment to stop and be present with the people that are around us. It's a hard thing to do for all of us. We got phones. We got so many distractions. But like for this very moment in time right now, I'm there. And I have no cares, no worries, and it's a beautiful place to be.
How wonderful is it that on the same channel that we've listened to Motiversity or Absolute Motivation, one of my favorite speakers who's passed on, Jim Rohn, listened to a lot when I came home from. How amazing is it that we get to be on that same platform, and maybe somebody who just came home from prison is listening to us right now?
Right.
Yeah.
This was my master's degree in personal development. It kept me on the right path. Like I didn't have those influences around me that I needed to really unlock that next level. I found them online.
Yep.
Like who would have thought we could sit in that chair with the microphone and serve the same purpose in our own unique way? Maybe we're going to be more impactful than Jim Rohn was.
Sure.
So it's not about, where we end up, but it's these moments right now. And how amazing is it that on the train ride, the first train, well, I've jumped on a couple trains, but never ridden with a ticket. I did a 10-minute guided meditation and was trying to find the right one, and ended up being one on returning back to presence through relaxation, and just kept grounding me and bringing me back into relaxation and back in the present. I struggle with it. And so it's fun we've ended up on this topic, because I don't think it's by chance. I don't believe anything happens by chance.
No. Agree.
I'm waiting for them to rip like one of my I just want them to rip one.
See, look at
one
how
thing.
selfish you are. Just one of yours.
He's waiting for a soundbite.
It's cool.
Why can't you say one of ours? Like a duo.
What
like a together.
Maybe you should DM
like a
Sean
tag.
Ryan.
Yeah, I know. Like a tag team. Why does it always have to be just you solo?
If you would powerbomb him,
for real,
it would be his moment.
I mean, if he keeps acting up like that, he's about to get one.
He's just trying to rent a house and house sit at the same time. There's something I wanted to go back to, because I think it's really relevant. You were touching on connection and how we are in our heads.
Sure.
In negative, how we talk to ourselves, the things that we tell ourselves. When I think about Camp Horseshoe and what that was, I think about humans through a tribal lens and how we evolved. Like we evolved in deep connection and community. We really couldn't survive well alone.
For sure.
We have our physiology, our brains haven't changed that much.
Look at how they
since
raised the baby. It was a whole entire community. Back in the day, it was like the entire tribe.
There's tons of data that support the more time babies spend around human beings, the better off they are. The more you speak to them and the way in which you speak to them, the better off they are.
Do you realize if you don't actually hold and cradle an infant, they will die? That should tell us enough. They will die.
Can I get a hug? Can we get 1 billion hugs going, please? So Camp Horseshoe curated that type of experience, and that's some of this mission is, right? Camp Horseshoe has 8 cabins in the beautiful mountains of West Virginia. 8 months out of the year, they sit vacant. But I had a 17-year-old who was using heroin. We didn't have a bed to get him into. 2 years later, he overdoses and died because the system has been arranged in a way that doesn't work for humans. And when are we going to call to action? When are we going to bring to awareness that, like, apartments by yourself in the dark, online, on the internet, inside your own head is not working.
No.
So we got to bring people together. Get out there. And if people struggle with social stuff and talking to people and connection, like I really do think wearing a Hugs t-shirt and going out in the community and seeing what that brings for you, like really can unlock us. I mean, I was wanting to take my life and I walked to a biscuit store and like went home feeling great.
Totally.
So
we're going to find out tomorrow.
Yeah, we are. I'm excited.
I'm going to walk into Costco. Everybody's going to have Hug shirts on.
Mm-hmm.
Greetings.
Free hugs.
Yeah, it'll be great.
I wonder if anybody will give me a hug.
I wonder if anyone will give me a
You'll
hug.
probably get one. If you're out for like at least 2 hours, you'll get a hug. If you have another person with you, you'll get more than one hug.
I'll be with him.
Oh, you'll get hugged. Yeah, you'll get lots of hugs.
Oh yeah, you'll be so sweet.
What?
Wait, hold on.
No, the hug thing's on the front. Free hugs is on the front, bro.
Hell yeah, boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
You might need to wear a looser one though, because then
No, I want more hugs.
it's not. It's
The whole
not.
point. The whole point
not.
is to win.
It's
Competitive advantage.
It's not fair. I'm gonna wear the tight one then. I'm gonna get me. There's a medium over there. I'm gonna wear the medium.
Oh,
I'm gonna
God.
wear the extra
Rip
medium.
the sleeves off. I would get the bicep
Dude.
vein out. Yeah.
No, ew,
I
I
think-
wouldn't want to give you a hug because
Why?
then I want
'Cause
your
I-
sweaty armpit.
Underarm sweat.
Yeah.
I smell
Negative.
like I smell like a cookie though. I smell like a vanilla
Toll House.
cookie, Toll House cookie, chocolate chip.
At least this is gonna be good. I wonder how many. Well, I know the concept of the reel could be like little tallies. You know, each time we get a hug.
Bing, 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 We better stay together then,
Yeah.
so she can like.
Mm-hmm.
Because
And
I'm
don't
gonna
try
be
to- don't
yelling
try to
from
steal
across.
my hugs.
I'm gonna be yelling from across the room. I just got a hug. Right.
Yeah, that'd be good.
All right. Well, Reed,
Thank you so much.
thanks for coming on.
Yeah, Reed.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
I like how go to Reed to the two cameras of Reed. We got the look at see how it says Hopeaholics right there in the background.
Boom.
Boom, right there. See it?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Hopeaholics.
What? You're. So,
I like the
The
wallpaper.
wallpaper's great.
Yeah.
We need to ping another reel of him talking about himself. Once again. What about us?
I was admiring the wall.
Okay, that works.
Thanks for coming on, Reed. It
Yeah,
was a
thanks,
great
Reed.
podcast.
Thank you guys
Awesome.
for the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Second guest in a row with no
I
headphones.
know. Maybe they just like
The guy,
maybe
but-
we're too much.
Huh?
Like I'm on a plane with
They were
Maybe we're
both. They
too
were
much.
both.
landing.
The last
It's
guy.
too much.
So
See.
Whoa!
See.
I love it. I
do
love
too.
hearing my
Wait.
own voice.
Victoria, will you Chad, spit some bars real quick.
Yeah. I'm
how
out.
does that sound?
Thank you
Is that
so much,
good?
Reed. We're done.
I gotta use
You
some
got to
coffee.
know when to hold 'em,
Um.
know when
The
to
first-
fold 'em.
Oh no! Shout out to this one. She's the one that held it down this weekend. You guys like literally. You and Coop left her to sing by herself.
I'm sure I can